Good morning students, here we come up with the gross anatomy of the thoracic segment of sympathetic chain. This is a very interesting topic. So in the thoracic segment of the entire sympathetic chain, first the definition and the understanding. The sympathetic chain will start on either side of the vertebral column from the base of the skull, and it will pass down through the thoracic region, even through the abdominal region, and in front of the coccyx, both the chains right and left will join together and form a median ganglion. Therefore, this sympathetic chain on right and left side of vertebral column is known as the entire sympathetic chain. It is a nerve cord on either side of vertebral column which consists of various ganglia. So there are presence of 3 cervical ganglia on either side, right and left, in the cervical region, superior, middle and inferior cervical sympathetic ganglia. Then the chain consists of 12 thoracic ganglia in the thoracic region. The same chain consists of 5 lumbar ganglia, 5 sacral ganglia, and finally both the chains will unite in front of the coccyx and form ganglion impar in front of coccyx. So therefore, this is the entire chain, and this chain will be in this way. Supposing this is 1 ganglion, this is 2nd ganglion, this is the 3rd, this is the 4th ganglion, and when you join, this forms the sympathetic chain. And these are the sympathetic ganglia which are situated in the respective regions, as I have told you, right side as well as of the left side. So this is the general architecture of the sympathetic chain. Now this sympathetic chain has various ganglia, as I have told you, in the cervical region, thoracic region, lumbar region, sacral region. And finally, in the coccygeal region, both the chains will join with each other. In the coccygeal region, they join with each other and form the ganglion impar, as of in this manner. Now we are interested in the thoracic part of the sympathetic chain. Thoracic part of sympathetic chain will contain 11 or 12 ganglia, thoracic ganglia. Now these 12 thoracic ganglia or 11 thoracic ganglia on right and left side, they are joined with each other at all the different levels in the form of the nerve cords like this. So they constitute the thoracic sympathetic chain. Now in some cases, the first thoracic ganglia will be fused with that of the inferior cervical ganglion to form stellate ganglia. Now considering the entire thoracic sympathetic chain, this thoracic sympathetic chain will consist of the ganglia, and these ganglia are known as, they are also called the lateral ganglia. So in the thoracic region, the sympathetic ganglia, they are also referred to as lateral ganglia, lateral sympathetic ganglia, or simply sympathetic ganglia or lateral ganglia. Now, this sympathetic system in the thoracic region will have 2 main components which we are going to discuss today. And the 2 main components will be, the 2 main components of the thoracic sympathetic chain, of the lateral ganglia of the thoracic sympathetic chain, are the motor component and the sensory component. Try and understand both the components. Very interesting. These are the basic fundamentals. The basic concepts we are going to understand. Motor component. Try and understand. This motor component consists of, once again, 2 different neurons. Number 1, pre-ganglionic neuron, and number 2, post-ganglionic neurons. Pre-ganglionic and post-ganglionic neurons in the motor component. Sensory component, it consists of one entire body of the neuron. And that cell body of the neuron in the sensory component, where is it located? It is located within the neurons of dorsal nerve root ganglion. The dorsal nerve root ganglion or the dorsal nerve root ganglia. Now we will go in elaborate details of each one of them. Supposing if we take the preganglionic neurons of the motor component. preganglionic neurons of the motor component, where are they located? The preganglionic, if I write down over here, pre. So these preganglionic neurons, they are always located within the lateral horn cells. This is very important. Lateral horn cells of T1 to L2 thoracic spinal segments. So within the spinal cord, from the level of T1 till lumbar 2 spinal segment only, the preganglionic neurons are located. This has to be remembered throughout. This is the basic fundamental. Preganglionic neurons are located in the lateral horn cells of spinal cord, but extending from first thoracic segment till lumbar 2 thoracic segment, T1 to L2, lateral horn cells of spinal cord. This is where the preganglionic neurons will start or will begin or are located. Now postganglionic. Now here if I write, I refer to it as the postganglionic. The postganglionic neurons, this is very, very interesting, very important also. Postganglionic sympathetic, thoracic sympathetic neurons are located in, number one, they are located in, number one, lateral ganglia. So, lateral ganglia are the same thoracic sympathetic ganglia, the lateral ganglia. So the postganglionic neurons are located in the thoracic sympathetic ganglia, lateral ganglia, T1 to T12, and also lumbar first and lumbar second ganglia. So from T1 to L2, these ganglia, whatever are located at these levels, from first thoracic to lumbar second level, all these lateral ganglia will contain the postganglionic neurons of the thoracic sympathetic chain. Second place where these postganglionic neurons are located are collateral ganglia. What are these collateral ganglia? These collateral ganglia are always found clusters. They are found in the form of clusters, or they are clustered around the aorta. And for example, give names of this collateral ganglia. They are celiac plexus around the abdominal aorta, superior mesenteric plexus, inferior mesenteric plexus. They all are located around these arteries of origin around abdominal aorta. Also the aortico-renal plexus, and also superior hypogastric plexus. So these are the plexuses which are known as collateral ganglia. Our postganglionic thoracic sympathetic ganglia are even located in collateral ganglia, which are found as clusters around the aorta. Give the names. The names are celiac plexus, or superior mesenteric plexus, or inferior mesenteric plexus, or aortico-renal plexus, or superior hypogastric plexus. Now third region, third place where these postganglionic sympathetic neurons are located, that is known as terminal ganglia. And this terminal ganglia, in case of the thoracic sympathetic chain, in case of the sympathetic chain, is located only at one place, and that is known as the suprarenal medulla. So it is found in the cells of the suprarenal medulla of suprarenal gland. That is known as terminal ganglia. The cells of suprarenal medulla will function as terminal ganglia. That is the one of the postganglionic neurons of the thoracic sympathetic chain. So remember, the postganglionic thoracic sympathetic chain is located either in the lateral ganglia, or they are located in the collateral ganglia, or they are located in the terminal ganglia. And all these three ganglia should be very clear. Many times it is asked in MCQs or 1 mark question answer. Lateral ganglia means the thoracic sympathetic chain only. After clearing these concepts of preganglionic neurons, where are they located? And postganglionic neurons, where are they located? Of the thoracic sympathetic chain. Now we start with the sensory. For example, this sensory component, as I have told you, it is located in the dorsal nerve root ganglia. Now, which all dorsal nerve root ganglia? The dorsal nerve root ganglia belonging to, once again, T1 to L2 spinal segments. So once again, the dorsal nerve root ganglia of T1 to L2 spinal segments. Within this dorsal nerve root ganglia, only the sensory component, the cell bodies of the sensory component of the thoracic sympathetic chain are located. So the cell bodies of the sensory component of thoracic sympathetic chain are located where? Within the dorsal nerve root ganglia, extending across T1 to L2 spinal segments. So those dorsal nerve root ganglia, or other name of dorsal nerve root ganglia is spinal ganglia. Those spinal nerve root ganglia which are belonging to T1 to L2 segments will have the cell bodies of sensory component. So finally the sensory component is also clear. Motor component is also clear. We have discussed motor component of preganglionic and postganglionic neurons. Now we come to the general anatomy, general architecture, the general structure of the spinal segment and the lateral ganglia. And the most important part connecting lateral ganglia with the spinal nerve, that is white and gray ramus communicans. So therefore, please come on this side. If we draw, please draw alongside with me. If we draw, here we are drawing the cross section. This will be the cross section of a spinal cord, the average cross section of a spinal cord, and then on both the sides what we'll do is we will continue this as the dorsal nerve root, and here we shall draw it as the ventral nerve root, and here we are going to draw this ganglion, and then this will continue as, let us show, this will continue as the spinal nerve. Now, if I mark this diagram, then for example here I will show the central canal, and also I will show this is the dorsal gray horn, this is the lateral gray horn, and this is the ventral gray horn. Same on this side. So therefore, this is how lateral gray horn and the ventral gray horn. So this is the lateral horn, this is the dorsal horn, and this is the ventral horn. Same on this side. The lateral horn, ventral horn, the dorsal horn, gray horn. Now, this structure which we have drawn, I hope this is visible. So this structure will be same as on this side also. But we are not going to show on this side. So we are utilizing only one side, and here we are going to name this as the dorsal nerve root. This is the ventral nerve root. This will be the spinal nerve, the trunk of the spinal nerve. The dorsal and ventral nerve root will join and form the trunk of the spinal nerve. Then this structure over here, what we have drawn, this will be the dorsal nerve root ganglion. Dorsal nerve root ganglion. So therefore, this is a cross section of one spinal segment at one level. From either from T1 to L2, only at one particular level we have drawn this spinal segment. And this is the general concept. This is how the spinal segment is attached to the spinal nerve of that particular segment through dorsal nerve root and ventral nerve root. And both will join and form the spinal nerve. Here, it is very important that we show one lateral ganglion. This is one lateral ganglion. This is very important. And this lateral ganglion we are showing along with another lateral ganglion which we show lower down. So, all these lateral ganglia across different segments will join and form the thoracic sympathetic chain. So, this is one of the ganglia of the thoracic sympathetic chain. This is another ganglia lower down of the same thoracic sympathetic chain. Now, at this particular segment, supposing let us consider this is the segmental level of T4. At this level, this is our sympathetic ganglion belonging to T4 segment. And this sympathetic ganglion belonging to this particular segment will be connected to the spinal nerve with two rami communicants. That is what we need to show. And those two rami communicants will be number 1, number 2. And when you draw this number 1 and 2, make sure that one will be lateral and another will be medial to the spinal segment. For example, this is lateral, this is medial to the spinal cord segment. So therefore, accordingly you give the name. For example, this medial ramus communicans here will be known as gray ramus communicans, the medial one. And the lateral one here will be known as the white ramus communicans. The lateral one is called the white ramus communicans and medial is called gray ramus communicans. So therefore, any one particular spinal cord segment will be connected with one sympathetic ganglion through the two rami communicants, in which the gray ramus communicants will be medial and white ramus communicants will be lateral. And both the communicants will connect one sympathetic ganglion with that particular level of spinal nerve, the trunk of spinal nerve. This anatomy is very important. Now, we know that we have drawn this general diagram. We know that this sympathetic chain, which consists of the sympathetic ganglia, which are also known as lateral ganglia, this entire sympathetic chain will be in the thoracic region. It will be present in front of the head of the particular ribs at all the level, and then vertically it is going down. Then it will pierce the behind the medial arcuate ligament of the diaphragm. The sympathetic chain of left as well as right side, thoracic sympathetic chain of right and left side will pass behind the medial arcuate ligament of diaphragm and will pass in the abdomen as lumbar sympathetic chain. Now, coming back to white and gray ramus communicants, we need to understand what is white ramus and what is gray ramus communicants. We will not go in any other detail. For that, you can refer to the segment of white and gray ramus communicants, which I have already explained it before. Here it is, this is basic, which we should understand. White ramus will always carry preganglionic fibers. So all the preganglionic fibers in this system, thoracic sympathetic system, will be relayed through the white ramus communicants, preganglionic. And these preganglionic fibers of the white ramus communicants will contain, remember, two types of fibers, two types of sensations, two types of fibers. Number one, viscerosensory, that is, they will bring the sensations of pain from the viscera, viscerosensory, sensations of pain from the viscera, and they will be carried through white ramus communicants. And the second type of fibers will be, they will also convey or they will transmit visceromotor fibers. So therefore, this white ramus communicants will communicate or will carry two types of fibers, viscerosensory, carrying pain fibers from the viscera, and at the same time, visceromotor fibers also, preganglionic visceromotor fibers also. What about gray ramus communicants? Postganglionic. Remember, it is postganglionic only. And they will carry pseudomotor, pilomotor, and vasomotor fibers to the different skin viscera and also to upper and lower extremities. But they are postganglionic fibers. Now, what is preganglionic and what is postganglionic? We have already understood. Again, we are going to understand the entire pathway over here. And the last point about gray and white ramus communicants will be, this is the basic fundamental. You need to remember this. The white ramus communicants will communicate the lateral ganglia, that is this thoracic sympathetic ganglia, with the spinal cord across T1 to L2 spinal nerves only. And that means that all the spinal nerves, in simple language, from T1 to L2, the spinal nerves across T1 segment till second lumbar segment will be connected to the lateral ganglia through the white ramus communicants. and the remaining ganglia above T1 and below L2, the remaining ganglia, lateral ganglia, the sympathetic ganglia, will be connected to the spinal nerve through gray ramus communicants. So therefore, now the bottom line will be gray ramus communicans is present across all the levels of the spinal nerves. And how many spinal nerves are there? 31 pairs of spinal nerves. So therefore, gray ramus communicans will communicate the lateral ganglia with all 31 pairs of spinal nerves at all the levels, from cephalic to caudal level, gray ramus communicans. And white ramus communicans will communicate, is present only from T1 to L2 spinal nerves. They will communicate the lateral ganglia with only T1 to L2 spinal nerve segments, or T1 to L2 spinal nerves only. That means across that levels only those ganglia are connected with the spinal nerve, T1 to L2, white ramus. So you should remember that white ramus communicans is limited only from T1 to L2, connecting the lateral ganglia with the spinal nerve, T1 to L2. And gray ramus communicants will be communicating lateral ganglia, all the entire sympathetic chain, all the ganglia, with all the pairs of spinal nerves, all 31 pairs of spinal nerves. So therefore now, if I ask you at what level the preganglionic, and preganglionic we know that it is carried by white ramus communicants, preganglionic pathway, the preganglionic fibers are present across how many levels of spinal nerves? They are present across only T1 to L2 levels of spinal nerves only. What about postganglionic? The postganglionic thoracic sympathetic pathway, or the fibers are present across gray ramus communicants, and these gray ramus communicants are present in all the spinal nerves, all the lateral ganglia connecting, or all the sympathetic ganglia connecting with the 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Very simple, do not complicate. And now, after understanding this white and gray ramus communicants, let us now, it will be very clear now, we are going to understand three different pathways. The first two pathways will be of motor component, and the third pathway will be of sensory component. Very easy, very simple, with the help of line diagram. Now, the first pathway, preganglionic pathway, preganglionic motor neurons. The preganglionic motor neurons, as first I have already discussed with you, they are located at the level of lateral horn cells from T1 to L2. That is what we have written on this side. Now, the lateral horn cells, where are the lateral horn cells? The lateral horn cells are located here. So, if I consider this is the lateral horn cells of one particular segment, this is the preganglionic neuron. And this preganglionic neuron, here if I mark, we need to mark this as preganglionic neuron. So the nerve cells of preganglionic neurons are located within the lateral horn cells across T1 to L2 spinal cord segments. Then this pathway, now we are going to draw the pathway. Please draw alongside with me. The pathway of this preganglionic neurons will pass through the ventral nerve root, will pass through this ventral nerve root. First it will pass through the ventral gray horn, then it will pass through this ventral nerve root, and then through the spinal nerve it will pass. Through the spinal nerve it will pass through the white ramus communicants into the lateral ganglia. Once it reaches, remember this is the preganglionic neuron, preganglionic pathway, once it reaches that particular level of the lateral ganglia across the white ramus communicants, because it is preganglionic, this is preganglionic and white ramus communicants is preganglionic. So it passes through the white ramus communicants into that particular level, lateral ganglia. From here now, it will terminate in one of the three ways. There are three different ways how it will terminate. Very interesting. The first way, three different ways. The first way, in the first way, the preganglionic pathway, the preganglionic neuron, it will relay in the same level sympathetic ganglion. So if this is one of the relay, this is the first type in which this will relay here within the same sympathetic ganglion at the same level. Second different pathway, as it is coming down through the white ramus communicants, From here, it will ascend or descend across the sympathetic chain. So either from here it will pass upwards, or from here it will pass downwards. So either it will ascend or descend across the sympathetic chain, and then it will end in either upper level ganglia or lower level ganglia, either in the upper ganglia or in the lower ganglia. This is the second pathway. How the preganglionic pathway will terminate, how the preganglionic neurons will terminate. Very simple. So either it will ascend or it will descend across the thoracic sympathetic chain, and then it will terminate, or it will synapse, or it will relay in upper or lower sympathetic ganglia. This is the second one. With the help of arrows we have shown second one. What is the third one? Very interesting. Third one will be, sometimes these neurons, preganglionic neurons, as they are passing through the white ramus communicans into the lateral ganglia, they will directly pass from this lateral ganglia as medial branches. And these medial branches will then relay within the, here if I draw, they will relay within the collateral ganglia. So I will write here collateral ganglia, and we know collateral ganglia, they are present as clusters around the aorta. They are known as the celiac plexus, superior mesenteric, inferior mesenteric, aortic-renal and superior hypogastric plexus. So they may relay in the celiac ganglia, or through medial branches they may also relay within the, here if I use different color, they may relay into the terminal ganglia. Terminal ganglia. And this terminal ganglia, in case of the thoracic sympathetic chain, is represented as suprarenal ganglia only. Suprarenal, cells of suprarenal medulla only. Suprarenal medulla. Terminal ganglia is present only in the cells of suprarenal medulla. So this is the third pathway, third type of termination of preganglionic thoracic sympathetic pathway. They will pass as medial branches and relay in the collateral ganglia, or they will relay in the terminal ganglia. And the name of these medial branches, very interesting, the name of these medial branches, they are known as the splanchnic nerves. And these splanchnic nerves, in the last I am going to discuss with you, these splanchnic nerves are known as thoracic splanchnic nerves or lumbar splanchnic nerves, upper lumbar, that is L1 and L2 thoracic sympathetic ganglia. So these medial branches are called splanchnic nerves, either thoracic splanchnic nerve or lumbar splanchnic nerve, and they are passing directly in collateral ganglia or terminal ganglia. So this is the entire pathway of the preganglionic thoracic sympathetic motor pathway. How the preganglionic neuron will terminate in either of the three ways. The first way is either it will terminate at the same level ganglia. Second will be either it will ascend or descend across the sympathetic chain, across the sympathetic ganglia, and will terminate or will synapse. Rather, it is known as synapse or relay in the nerve cells located in upper or lower ganglia. And third pathway is either it will pass directly as medial branches and it will relay in the or synapse in the collateral ganglia or terminal ganglia. This is preganglionic pathway only. Remember, preganglionic, what we have discussed, this is the preganglionic neurons, how they will pass across and how they will relay or synapse. It was starting from the lateral horn cells of T1 to L2. Now we come to postganglionic. The second pathway, postganglionic neurons, from where they will origin and which pathway they will follow. This also is basic fundamental. Try and understand. The postganglionic, we have written previously, what we have written is, it will either take origin, the postganglionic neurons are located within the lateral ganglia or collateral ganglia, or they are located in terminal ganglia. Very fine. So therefore, now, the postganglionic neurons will take origin from the lateral ganglia. So let us draw from the lateral ganglia. From here, the post-ganglionic neurons will start. Post-ganglionic sympathetic neurons will start from that level. So let us use this blue color. From here, the post-ganglionic sympathetic neurons will start the pathway. They will once again terminate in one of the three different ways. Just as pre-ganglionic pathway we have seen three different ways, same way post-ganglionic pathway also three different ways. The first way, the post-ganglionic neurons will take the first approach, the first way. They will pass back through the gray ramus communicans. See here, they are passing back through the gray ramus communicans like this. Because gray ramus, we know that it carries only post-ganglionic fibers. So it will pass across through the gray ramus communicans, and where it will pass, finally through the spinal nerve, through the gray ramus communicans, through spinal nerve, it will be relayed to, where it will be relayed to? It will be relayed to the various viscera. They are known as segmental viscera of the body wall. So one pathway of the post-ganglionic, one of the pathway will be, it will pass back through the gray ramus communicans, and then it will be relayed into the segmental viscera. What it will carry, what are the functions? It will relay pseudomotor, pilomotor and vasomotor functions. It will relay pseudomotor, pilomotor and vasomotor fibers to the segmental skin viscera by traveling back across the gray ramus communicans. This is one of the pathway of post-ganglionic neuron. Second pathway. Now second pathway of this neuron will be, from here it will pass once again as medial branches in this way. As medial branches, it will travel to the, now here if I draw, it will travel to the effector organs, or they are called target organs. They will travel to the and terminate in the neurons of effector organs or target organs, where they are destined to reach or where they need to reach. Second pathway. So the post-ganglionic neurons starting from the lateral ganglia will pass as medial fibers, the medial nerves, and will directly reach the effector organs or target organs. Simple. And in the same pathway, we have seen that certain preganglionic fibers are synapsing with collateral and terminal ganglia. So from collateral ganglia, also the post-ganglionic fibers will start, and these post-ganglionic fibers, as they start from collateral ganglia, will also terminate in, or they will synapse in effector organs or target organs. So altogether, this is the second pathway of post-ganglionic neurons. Now third pathway, coming back here, third pathway of this post-ganglionic neurons will be very simple. From here, it will pass, ascend upwards, or it will descend downwards across the sympathetic chain. And then as it ascends or descends across sympathetic chain, across various levels, it will then pass through the gray ramus communicans of various levels. These two arrows which I have drawn is representing the gray ramus communicans across upper levels and lower levels, across the upper ganglia and lower ganglia. And passing through those gray ramus communicans, they will connect to the extreme places of the body. That means they will pass to the, here I can write, they will pass to the upper extremity, also the lower extremity. So through those gray ramus communicans, they can pass to upper and lower extremity. And how does that gray ramus communicans will communicate to upper and lower extremities? Through brachial plexus and lumbosacral plexus. So this is how the fibers can pass in the third way. This is the third pathway of post-ganglionic sympathetic neurons. So this is how the post-ganglionic neurons, after taking origin from the lateral sympathetic ganglia, will terminate or will pass in one of the three different ways. The first way, as I told you, was it will pass into as medial branches into the target organs or effective organs, or it will pass back through the gray ramus communicans at the same level and will pass into the segmental skin viscera carrying the pilomotor, pseudomotor and vasomotor fibers. Second one. Third one, it will ascend or descend across the sympathetic ganglia and will communicate via their gray rami communicants into the upper and lower extremities through brachial plexus and lumbosacral plexus. And of course, certain postganglionic fibers will also take origin from collateral ganglia, and they will also pass directly into effector organs or target organs. So this is how the postganglionic sympathetic pathway will relate. Remember, for both preganglionic and postganglionic, we have three different paths which we already have discussed. Very simple, keep it simple. Now we consider the third pathway, sensory pathway. The sensory component of the sympathetic, thoracic sympathetic system. We know that the sensory component is mainly concerned with the carrying the pain fibers from the viscera. So therefore, it will have only one neuron, and that neuron, the cell body of that particular neuron is located in the dorsal nerve root ganglion at all particular levels. So supposing this is one particular level, one particular segment. Here we consider that this is the cell body where the sensory component of the sympathetic system is located within the dorsal nerve root ganglion. So therefore, if I draw here the sensory component, if I show it over here, this is the cell body which is located in the dorsal nerve root ganglion. Now it will have two arms, peripheral arm and central arm. The central arm, straight away we draw, it will pass through the dorsal nerve root, will pass through the dorsal gray horn and will relay where it will synapse with the preganglionic neuron which is present here in the lateral gray horn. It will relay with the preganglionic motor neuron in the lateral gray horn. But this is the central process of the cell body of the sensory component which is present in dorsal nerve root ganglion, one particular neuron. And the central process passing through the dorsal nerve root of the spinal nerve root, then it will pass through the dorsal gray horn, and then it will synapse with the lateral horn cells. And of course we know in the lateral horn cells there are presence of the preganglionic motor neurons, sympathetic, they belong to the same sympathetic system. Now what about the peripheral process? Wonderful. Here if you draw the peripheral process, it will pass through the trunk of spinal nerve. Passing through the trunk of spinal nerve. Then it will pass through the white ramus communicans. Remember, it is preganglionic, so it will pass through white ramus communicans. And then through the lateral ganglia without any interruption. Remember, without any interruption, it will pass through the lateral ganglia and straight away it will then relay in the target organ or effective organ. What does this mean? What does this long peripheral process mean without any interruption? Once again, the peripheral process of the sensory neuron which is present in dorsal nerve root ganglion is passing through the spinal nerve trunk. Then it passes through the white ramus communicans. Then it passes through the lateral ganglion at that particular level without any interruption, and then it passes directly into the target organ. So what does it show? The pain sensations from these particular organs, these are the effector organs or target organs, any viscera. The pain sensations from this viscera will travel through this pathway across the lateral ganglia, white ramus, spinal nerve, and relay into this cell body. And from this cell body, it will be conveyed through these central processes, and directly it will relay at the level of the lateral horn cells, in which there is presence of, it will synapse with the preganglionic motor fibers. So this entire pathway, the pink colored pathway which we have shown, is the sensory pathway, sensory component of the thoracic sympathetic chain. As we have understood the motor and sympathetic components of the thoracic sympathetic chain, now we consider the three: greater splanchnic, lesser splanchnic and least splanchnic, which is asked in 1 mark question answer or in MCQ. What are these? So come here, please come on this side. Now here, if I just create some space over here, The thoracic splanchnic nerve comprises of greater splanchnic, lesser and least splanchnic. So here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here this 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, I will write it down. This is the 5th thoracic lateral ganglion, then the 6th, 7, 8 and 9. So these are the thoracic sympathetic ganglia, the lateral ganglia. From here, the medial branches of all these thoracic 5th to 9th sympathetic ganglia or lateral ganglia, they will fuse with each other. These branches will fuse with each other, and where they will pass, that is, they will pierce the crus of the diaphragm, and they will relay. Where they will relay? They will relay within the celiac plexus in the abdomen. That celiac plexus is one of the collateral ganglia. And this nerve which is formed over here is known as greater splanchnic nerve. MCQs or one mark question answer. What are these segments which will form the greater splanchnic nerve? For this you need to understand this diagram. Very simple. Now the same way, if you connect ganglion number 10 and ganglion number 11. Now 10 and 11, if you connect together, they will form another splanchnic nerve. This is 10, here I will write it, and this is 11. So the medial branches of thoracic sympathetic ganglia number 10 and 11 will fuse and form. It will form what? It will form lesser splanchnic nerve. This will form the lesser splanchnic nerve. And where it will terminate? It will terminate in the aortico-renal plexus. So it will synapse with the aortico-renal plexus, lesser splanchnic nerve. How it is formed? The medial branches of the 10th and 11th thoracic ganglia. Greater splanchnic nerve, it is formed by the medial branches of the 5 to 9 thoracic sympathetic ganglia. And now the last one. That is ganglion number 12. And here, if I simply show it, ganglion number 12, the medial branch of the thoracic sympathetic ganglion number 12 will form, what it will form? Least splanchnic nerve. And where it will terminate? It will terminate in renal plexus. These three splanchnic nerves, the three thoracic splanchnic nerves, which are divided into greater splanchnic, lesser splanchnic and least splanchnic, their formations from these ganglia and their endings or their synapses or their relay in either celiac plexus, greater splanchnic, or aortico-renal plexus from the lesser splanchnic, and renal plexus in the least splanchnic. They are very much asked in MCQs or 1 mark question answer. So with this we have understood the entire concept of the thoracic part of the sympathetic chain. Thank you very much.